Young Tae-suk is an honest cop who goes through the crime scene and suspects it to be the work of a serial killer. But his senior doesn't believe him. The victim was stabbed several times and Tae-suk finds evidence that his car was rear-ended. Which means there was another car at the crime scene, which later drove away. Tae-suk argues that the length and depth of the stab wounds match those in at least 4 other similar incidents and thus to him it looked like the work of a serial killer. Tae-suk is also investigating Gangster Dong-soo, who has bribed Tae-suk's superiors. Tae-suk does not listen to his superior officer and does as he pleases by randomly raiding Dong-soo's establishments. On the other hand, gangster Jang Dong-soo is on his way home. After a meeting with his rival gang's head Sang-do, where they have a disagreement over how to split territories. Sang-do was not happy to be restricted to the slots and arcades business. And Dong-soo wanted Sang-do to be happy with what he had. The killer hits Dong-soo's car and eventually tries to kill him. A fight ensues, and both of them end up injured. Dong-soo is a strong man himself and more than capable of defending himself. Dong-soo manages to stab the killer a few times with the killer's own knife. The killer escapes after knocking Dong-soo with his car. Dong-soo is admitted to the hospital. While his henchmen assumed that the crimes were committed by Sang-do's gang and attacked the latter. The killer, meanwhile, stitches his own wounds inside his car in a secluded area. He then proceeds to kill the guard at a dog-impound dog. Dong-soo believes it wasn't a rival gang member as his moves seemed purposeless. Tae-suk visits Dong-soo at the hospital and asks him to cooperate so that he can catch the killer for him. But he doesn't comply. Tae-suk visits Dong-soo's car and again finds evidence of a rear-end collision, just confirming that it is the work of the serial killer he has been investigating. Dong-soo orders his men to find the killer through a sketch, and they manage to find his car and a knife with which the killer killed another man in the vicinity. The knife was the murder weapon which the killer had dropped after killing his latest victim. The murder weapon was found 3 kilometers away from the killer's car, and this time the killer was driving away in a garbage truck after abandoning his car. Dong-soo eventually informs the findings to Tae-suk. Tae-suk meets Dong-soo again and says that he was attacked by a serial killer, and that more people are likely to die if he is not apprehended soon, and they decide to team up to catch the killer. Dong-soo needs to take care of the killer as this random incident has made a dent in his personal reputation that is now hurting his business. Dong-soo agrees to provide manpower, but on the condition that the killer belongs to whoever finds him first. Dong-soo wants to kill him for revenge, while Tae-suk wants to arrest him in order to solve 5 connected murder cases and then eventually get promoted. Dong-soo orders his right-hand man Kwon Oh-sung to kill his rival Hyo Sang-do with the killer's knife that already has the blood imprints of the killer's previous victims. An enraged Tae-suk gets into a fight with Dong-soo upon learning what he has done, as the killing is confirmed to be the serial killer's work, and the case is transferred to the major case squad. Dong-soo visits Sang-do's funeral where the killer also turns up and informs Sang-do's right-hand man that Dong-soo killed Sang-do with his knife. When Tae-suk and Dong-soo check the killer's car for any evidence, they are attacked by Sang-do's right hand and his henchmen. A fight ensues, resulting in the death of Sang-do's right-hand man. Dong-soo gets him buried and clears the scene. Tae-suk is now assigned a kidnapping case. The serial killer had killed another man, but now pretended to kidnap him to extort money from his wife. So, Tae-suk asks the wife to take the money to the designated drop in the hope of finding the kidnapper there, and while solving it, he sees the killer. A chase ensues, but the killer flees. Through the forensic tests, he discovers the killer to be a missing person. He informs Dong-soo about this, and a voice clip he received confirms the missing person to be the killer. Later, Dong-soo helps a girl by giving her his umbrella and soon learns she has been killed when his umbrella is found at the crime scene. They start looking for the killer and eventually find him in his car. A car chase ensues, and the killer flees again but is then captured and beaten up by Dong-soo. However, the killer kills Oh-sung and Dong-soo takes the killer away to kill him, but Tae-suk crashes his car and hits Dong-soo, then arrests the killer. With no conclusive evidence against the killer, whose name is revealed to be Kang Kyung-ho, Dong-soo, being the sole survivor of his attack, testifies against him. Dong-soo successfully predicts the existence of a stab wound on Kyung-ho's body, previously inflicted by Dong-soo during their first encounter. Dong-soo also provides misleading evidence framing Kyung-ho for Sang-doo's murder. The court sentences Kyung-ho to death while Dong-soo is also arrested due to his criminal activities. Tae-suk is finally promoted, while Dong-soo gets transferred to the same prison as Kyung-ho. Something Dong-soo had requested Tae-suk to do in exchange for the testimony followed by his arrest. While Kyung-ho is having a shower, Dong-soo closes the tap and approaches him with a smile and a rope in his hands.